Hi everyone, Emily here from Emily's Excellent Epics. And today I have for you my May reading wrap up. So, um, in May, I read 13 books. So that was good. Overall this year, I have read 64 books. So I'm ahead of the game. My goal is always 100 books. I'm ahead of the game, which is good because I know I probably won't meet the goal of 100 books. I am in grad school and I'm a teacher. So it's okay. Um, for as far as total pages I read this month was 3,324. So I'm happy with that. So let's get started with the books that I read. I was participating in Escape the Readathon. So at the beginning of the month, I was looking for like a quick short read. I can't remember what the prompt was that dropped. It was, read a borrowed book. So I used a KU book to get points for that. So I first read Accidentally Yours by Christina Lauren. And this was part of a series that was done around Valentine's Day with some other authors. And I read some other books in this series. So this one was, it was fine. This was a couple that lived in the same building, and she ends up on a Zoom meeting, thinking that she was going to be part of this interview, and she basically kind of dumps this information at this Zoom meeting, and then leaves a call. And when the men on the Zoom meeting reaches out to her and asks for like information on like, can you help do this sales pitch for us? They live in the same building, but they don't realize that they are the same people that they're communicating with and are attracted to each other. It was fine. I liked the banter between the twos, but what I didn't like was like how do you accidentally go into a Zoom meeting? I don't know. And if you were at the Zoom meeting and you see the person, how then do you not make the connection that the person is in the building too? So there are just some plot holes with that, but it was fine. It served its purpose. I next read The Seven Dials Mystery by Agatha Christie. I gave it 4 stars. It was high, so I gave it a higher score because I did this part. I'm part of Gavin Reads It All, his channel membership, and he will do solve-alongs with Agatha Christie with his channel members. So you read the book, you stop at a certain chapter where it's like, here's now where the murder reveal is going to be. So you read up to that point, okay? And then in the chat, we would give our theories, and then we finish the rest of the book. We would have a reading sprint, and then we come back and catch up in the chat of like, oh my gosh, we were right, or oh my gosh, we were totally off. I was totally off. I had all sorts of different theories, but then when in the chat, I was like, oh yeah, now I agree with your theory. I'm going to change my theory. I did like Bundle in this. I always get confused. Like, there's just a big cast of characters. And so I just was starting to get confused. And then not only do they have their regular names, but then they've got pseudonyms. And so it just threw me off. But I love me a locked room mystery. So I did enjoy it. Will I ever reread this again? Probably not. So this probably will end up in my Pango shop. That was a 4-star. The next book was another I need a quick read for Escape the Readathon, and I read Time Will Tell by Hannah Bonham Young. So this basically is the story of 2 individuals whose grandmothers were secretly in love, and they left behind a time capsule, and she is a school teacher, and she discovers the time capsule and is working on this project with her middle grade students and writes to him because she needs the key so that way she can open up the time capsule. It was fine. I gave it 2.5 stars. It was fine. I also read Second Act Romance by Julie Soto. This again was a quick novella set in that Valentine's Day series. I gave it 3 stars. I thought it was really funny. Like how so this is about two characters who like the female main character, she is in a production of Oklahoma. She's the female lead, and all of her castmates like went out to this taco place one night after work to celebrate something, and they all ate. She didn't eat the tacos, and they all end up with food poisoning. And so then it's like, okay, who all are going to fill in the roles? And the main male character, um, fill in for the lead in Oklahoma, is a very famous actor whom she had met years prior working on a production of Oklahoma. Um, it was just cute to see the inner workings behind live theater. As someone who has a family member who works in live theater, it was a fun nod to that. But the story itself was fine. I'm not a big second chance romance person, so there's that. And then lastly, in this series, I read Valentine's Sleigh by Navessa Allen. This one I gave 2 stars. The premise is just very wild. So the main male character, he is a groundskeeper for a cemetery, like his family owns it and works it. And one night he hears something in the cemetery, and it turns out the main female character was buried alive. And they meet, and they went to high school together in this small town, and the premise is just wild. So, like, she wasn't a zombie, she was just buried alive in a medically induced coma. Like, the whole premise is just kind of absurd. And uh, they do sleep together. She is still technically married at this point in time. Is he a good man? No, 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 he is not. But it was just kind of like, why are we doing that? And so I knocked it down 2 stars. And then I stopped reading those those short novellas. The next book I read for hardest reading challenge you'll ever do, I have to read a new release. And so the next book was a new release. And I read The Shippers by Catherine Center. And now I got to go back to my journal. I lost my page because I want to be clear. I gave this like a 3 or a 2.5. I waffle back and forth. So will this go in my Pango shop? Yes, yes, it will. Here's what worked for me. I love a best friend to lover, and like a he falls first and hard. That I love that trope. And so we for sure have that. What did not work was just the whole premise of like the premise of like, oh, I kissed this person and now like it was my first kiss and I was blindfolded and I imprinted on them, and that's why I'm having a hard time with love. You're in your upper 20s and you're doing this shenanigans and thinking this like, ugh, like, can we be a little bit mature? Like that to me was like a middle school mindset. We're in our upper 20s. We're adults. Let's not behave that way. What else? She deals with some heavy themes in this book. Like there is parental abuse, past parental abuse. There is an attempted essay, like, and it was brushed upon. Like it was talked about like for a page or two and then just dropped, and it wasn't really handled very well. There are some romance authors like Abby Jimenez who can do trauma and heavy themes in their books, and it handles well and it makes sense. This just did not make sense to me. And there's miscommunication, which I I hate the miscommunication trope in romance novels. So I think Catherine Center is just not an author for me. And it makes me sad. Like, I really want to like her. I mean, I've bought all of her, with the exception of rom-comers, but I did listen to it. Like her recent books, I bought like The Bodyguard. I did Hello Stranger. This one, the Love Haters Catherine Center. I think so. So like, I've given her a shot. She just doesn't hit it for me. She has more misses for me than hits. So that will be going to my Pango shop as well. This month was kind of an underwhelming month. It's a lot of this is going in the Pango shop. But I did have a hit. This was Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinniman. I gave this 4 stars. I don't know why. I wasn't like oh my gosh, I love this. I thought it was enjoyable. I enjoyed it for what it was, which is fun. Um, it's lit RPG, so and I don't play video games, so for me to be like or Dungeons and Dragons or any kind of role playing game, I don't play. So, so it was definitely out of my comfort zone, but I just really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the fact that in this book, uh, there are clearly things that are going to be set up for like a bigger plot implications in future books, which I am looking forward to. I'm already reading book 2. Um, what? Oh my gosh, Princess Donut is hilarious. Took me a little time to warm up to Princess Donut, not gonna lie, but I love Princess Donut. I love Mongo. Like I just want Mongo to stay Mongo as he is in this book forever, and I know that it's not going to happen because I've seen spoilers of what he looks like now, and I love Mongo. He's hilarious. But the premise of this is we have Carl, who is out one day in Seattle. It's in the night. The cat escapes from the apartment, Princess Donut, and he goes after Princess Donut because Princess Donut is like a prize-winning show cat of his soon-to-be ex-girlfriend. Like his girlfriend is on a trip, and he discovers that on an Instagram post or some social media post, he realizes that she's been cheating on him. He's gonna break up with her when she comes back, but he doesn't want Donut to take off, right? And while he's outside, basically aliens like wipe out planet Earth, and those who are still living, they can go down in under the bowels of the earth and participate in this game. Um, and there are different levels that they have to conquer and survive. So each book goes more and more into levels. In book 1 we get level 1 and 2, and it was just fun and enjoyable. So I'm looking forward to reading more. And then I have another banger. Yay, I'm so glad I had a good one. And that is The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. This is book 1 in the Crowns of Nyaxia series. Wow, did I really like this. The one thing that I do have to say in my complaint is that the vampires have big old bat wings. And I'm just like, why? Why do we have to have big old bat wings? Like, that's not how I picture vampires. I picture vampires as like normal humans, and then that can turn into a bat, but not have big old bat wings. I think this is just a thing from ACOTAR. At any rate, what I really, there's something, okay, let me back up. So our main female character, Oriah, she is a human, and she's been raised by a vampire named Vincent. And Vincent is a vampire king. And every 100 years, there's this competition with trials, of course, that the goddess Nyaxia of the world, who's like the goddess of the vampires, puts on. And the winner can ask for some kind of a boon, a wish. And so she enters this while Vincent is kind of caught up in a war with another vampire faction. And in this, Roshan, the Rashan vampires. In this, she meets Rain, who's another vampire, and and he's a Rashan, and they partner up because there is a level of the trials where you have to have partners and work together to defeat whatever the trial is. There was one part that I figured out. Then I was like, this is what's gonna happen. But there are some twists and turns that happen in here that I did not guess at. And that's why I really enjoyed it, because I did not predict some of the things. I'm looking forward to reading book 2. Hopefully that's this month. Then I also read Six Scorched Roses by Carissa Broadbent. This is a novella that comes in between books 1 and 2 of the first Crowns of Nyaxia duology. However, this does not follow Rain and Oriah. This follows Lilith, and I don't remember the vampire name. So it was fine. It does apparently give context for book 2, so that's why it's important to read. But it was just meh. Oh, Vale is the vampire. Just in case there is chronic illness, pandemic type stuff in here, so that's something that is not something you want to read. Just beware. I forgot to mention Serpent and the Wings of Night I used for spooky creatures for hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. And Dungeon Crawler Carl I used for the subgenre prompt for hardest reading challenge you'll ever do for Lit RPG. So, forgot to mention that. Then I read The Gingerbread Bakery by Laurie Gilmore. Yes, I read a Christmas book in the summer. Again, I'm not a big fan of second chance romance. I'm not. But what saved this book is I'm a sucker for a he falls hard and first. So there's that. I just was like, can we just stop with all the bickering? Like the nonsense bickering. So there's that. I gave it a 3 stars. I'm trying to go quick. I feel like this can go long. Then I read The Ending Writes Itself by Evelyn Clark. For her kid, this fits the Even Bigger Rainbow, a white cover. I feel like it fits something else, but I don't remember what. Oh, this fit the queer alphabet. There is a POV character in here who is gay. I gave this a 2.5 or a 3 star. I wanted to like this more than I did. It was really slow going. This was also a book discussion that Kayla over at Books and Lala had this month. So go watch that. I like her rant. She's like, here's how I would rewrite it and what I would do instead. I'm like, I agree with every single point that she said. I felt like it was just slow to get into. Very slow to get into. This is, the premise is a bunch of these authors who are considered mid-list authors are invited to an island off of Scotland because a very famous mystery thriller writer has died and he didn't finish the ending to his series. And so the editor is like, if you can finish this, then you're not going to put your name on it, the book, because we don't want to announce yet that the author has passed away, but you're going to finish it off and like we'll give you a contract and like it'll launch your career basically. And it'll take you out of being mid-list and you become a bigger deal in the publishing world. Well, the writers that are invited to this retreat are not all mystery thriller writers. Like we have a mystery writer, we have a romance writer, we have a thriller writer, we have a sci-fi writer, we have a fantasy writer. They're all invited to this island. And for a writing retreat, or for a writing competition, there's not a whole lot of writing. It takes about half the book before we get to the first murder. And then it just was very predictable about like who was going to die next. And there's a lot of critique about the publishing world and how they treat mid-list authors. And this is a writing duo of Kat Clark and V. Schwab. And from what I understand, Kat Clark did leave the publishing world because of some things that happened to her. But for V. Schwab to be making the critiques on like publishing and mid-list authors, it just, to me, was like, this is weird. Like, it didn't feel genuine for me, only because she's not a mid-list author. She is critiquing the very publishing world that she's also profiting off of. It was just kind of, it was an uncomfortable dynamic for me. There is a critique on AI in publishing that was just kind of thrown in there, but not fully developed. It could have been so much more, and it just fell flat. This will be going to my Penguin shop. Well, a lot of like mid books. The next book was also one that I was like, meh. And I gave it 3 stars, and that was The Maid's Secret. And I think I'm done with this series. This series by Nita Prose follows Molly the maid, who had a very close relationship with her grandmother who raised her. And Molly, we're never told specifically that she's neurodivergent, but it appears that she is. She follows a very strict set of rules, really struggles with social relationships because she doesn't get the social cues. She's very literal, doesn't understand sarcasm, is easily taken advantage of, and I just felt like I just feel like Nita Prose just keeps kind of recycling the same plot points and movements and jokes, and it just, I didn't feel like there was anything original in this week. So in fact, I was kind of getting tired and feeling lackluster. So I'm done with this series, and I'm going to be unhauling all of my books in the series, and they will be going to my Pingo shop as well. Jeez. It was a rough month, but at least like I'm clearing things out. Okay. And then last I read Daughter of the Pirate King. Look at how pretty. I found this on like a buy-sell group in my hometown. And I like, when I saw the pretty editions, I was like, ooh, I want them. But I was like, I cannot buy them. Because I enjoyed them. This is a reread. I enjoyed them. But I was like, I can't justify buying brand new hardbacks. So I was really excited when this was in a buy-sell group for like $5 a pop. And then I jumped on it. So what is this about? This is about Alosa, who is sent on a mission by her father, who is the Pirate King. She's sent on a mission to infiltrate another pirate ship that has a section of this map that will enable them to find like this Siren Island where there's all this treasure. And shenanigans go from there. Was this over the top? Absolutely. Like, she's just very arrogant, over the top. Are there some, is it a predictable thing? Yes. Was it what I needed at the time when I read it? Absolutely. It was the end of the school year, finishing everything out, starting grad school, and I just needed light fluff, and I got what I needed. So I did enjoy my reread. So those were all the 13 books that I read. Let me give you kind of a stats update on where I'm at book-wise. I am unhauling more books. So let me go. So at the start of the month, the total number of owned books I had was 819. The total read was 358. Total unread was 461. So the percentage of unread books that I had on my shelves was 56.29. I'm doing a lot better. So did I buy more books? Yes, I did. But so I blame you, Barnes and Noble, where they had buy one get one 50% off hardback sale. I may or may not have bought 3 books in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. But here's the deal. I am unhauling all of my Lillian Jackson Braun books. I got them used at over the course of a couple of used book sales that supports adult literacy. So like I don't like do I feel like did I waste money buying them? Yes, but no, in that the money that I spent on them went to a good cause. So I don't feel bad. However, the reason why I'm giving up on that series, I really struggle with Quillerin as a main character. I just don't like him. I love the cats. I don't like Quillerin. I don't like what he espouses. I know that the books were written are a product of the time. I agree with that. They very much so are. And I don't know why I can overlook it in Agatha Christie. Like I can critique it and be like it's there, it's a product of the time. Whereas in the Cat Who books, I can't. I don't know why that is. I don't know. I don't know. So I'm not, please hear this, I'm not judging you if you like them. I'm glad you like them. I just don't like Quillerin. And so why am I going to keep reading books where I don't like the main character? So I'm clearing them off my shelf. So what that means for my library, my total owned books now are 811. So I'm down 8 books total owned. That's good. Because I have stacks next to some bookshelves that are on the floor and don't have room for the bookshelves. My total read books is 357. So I didn't increase that. Actually went down one because I'm unhauling like 3 or 4 books that I've read and I'm not keeping. My total unread books is 454. So that went down by 7 because I'm between the amount of books that I've read and then the amount of unread books I'm getting rid of. So my percentage of unread books that I own is now 55.98, which went down by 0.31%. So not like I would like to be below 50%. So in order to do that, I have to either unhaul unread books or read at a pace that I know I'm not going to meet. Like last June, I read 20 books. This year, that's not going to happen because of grad school. And my problem too is next week is a used book sale for that adult literacy program. So I don't know if I'll be there or not. So let me know in the comments down below what you read this month. What was your favorite book? Have you read any of the books that I've read? What were your thoughts? Also, just a little side note too. I am not going to be filming a June TBR. I actually filmed one. I filmed it twice. The first one I felt was really chaotic. So I was like, let me refilm it. Maybe it'll be less chaotic. The second time I filmed it, it was still really chaotic. And I just don't like what I filmed. And I don't know how to fix it. So I'm just not going to post a June TBR because I do feel kind of chaotic about my reading right now. I'm participating in the Amazing Readathon. I would like to participate in the Slice of Life Readathon hosted by Elizabeth over at Lizzie Faye Loves Books and Tiffany over at Beach Bum Bookworm. So I want to give a shout out to them as well. Here's my problem right now. Like I said, I'm in grad school and I also feel like, oh man, I should get this stuff done over the summer that I said I was going to do last summer and didn't do. And I don't have time during the year to do. So now it's time to get some of that stuff done. So I'm putting pressure on myself to try to balance reading for fun, taking care of things around the house, making sure I am being diligent about grad school. Because I want to do well at grad school. I am blessed that I get a tuition reimbursement or tuition waivers from my school district has a partnership with the university that I'm going to, where if we take in student teachers or students who are just doing their clinical observations, and we get tuition reimbursements. And so I've done that. And so I don't have to pay tuition. So I want to make sure that I'm keeping on top of things because of that privilege that I have. So I don't want to post a TBR video and then it just kind of blow up and then talk about a bunch of books that weren't even in my pile of possibilities because I started mood reading because my brain just went fried and I needed light fluff. So that's why I'm not posting a June TBR, because I don't want to post something and then in the wrap up be like, whoa, Emily was way off. So that being said, I then don't know how to resolve like I, I don't even know what I was going to say. I don't know how to then kind of highlight or showcase what I was kind of thinking of reading this month. I don't know. So TBD on that. But yeah, if you're not sure of what to read, if you're not sure what to fit in with your reading, I highly encourage you to check out the Slice of Life Readathon. Again, that's Tiffany's and over at Beach Bum Bookworm and Elizabeth over at Lizzie Faye Loves Books. They put together that. So go check out their channel and watch their videos. And then also I'm doing the Amazing Readathon hosted by Bree over at Four Paws in a Book. I'm on Team Allons-y, which is hosted by Leandra from the TBR Zero, and I don't remember the co-host. I apologize. So, thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.